Hi everybody, welcome back to Mando Lessons. My name is Baron Collins Hill. In last week's lesson, I gave you a little bit of historical context of some instruments that I've recently purchased from Lawrence Smart, a great builder over in Idaho, and I wanted to move on to a mandolin family instrument. Now last week I talked about a 6-string archtop guitar and a 4-string tenor archtop guitar and sort of some historical context of kind of where those instruments originated in the 20s and my thoughts on tenor guitars. And the third instrument that I had Lawrence build me was this thing. Now this has a bunch of different names. The most official that I've found is, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this correctly, but liuto cantabile, I believe. My Italian is non-existent, so apologies to anyone who actually speaks Italian. But that is the name for this instrument. I think of it as either a 10-string mandocello or a 10-string octave mandolin. The way it's tuned is C, G, D, A, E. All fifths straight across. So if you think of the 4 lowest pitch strings, you have C, G, D, A, just like a mandocello. And if you think of the 4 highest pitch strings, you have G, D, A, E, just like an octave mandolin. Now you may ask, why did I have this instrument, this monster designed and built? A couple different reasons. I've really been into 10-string instruments for many years. The bouzouki I play in Irish music is a 10-string, so it's bouzouki tuning with a low D, also known as a cittern. And I wanted the same idea. I love all things mandolin. I don't play that much octave mandolin or mandocello though, so I wanted an instrument that was really versatile and could cover a bunch of bases. So this has the mandocello, C, G, D, A. It's on a 25-inch scale, which is pretty standard for mandocellos these days. It also has G, D, A, E octave mandolin, also on a 25-inch scale because it's got that low C. So it's a little longer than your average octave mandolin, but I find for me it's pretty comfortable. I'm definitely still getting used to sort of the physicality of the instrument, but Lawrence is a great builder and it plays super easy. It's just me getting used to the stretches involved in that longer scale. In a little bit though, I'll talk a little bit about how I've got some life hacks to make that scale a little bit shorter. So this instrument is built just like a Gibson L5 archtop guitar from the 20s. It's a 16-inch lower bout, Engelmann spruce top, maple back and sides and neck. And like I was talking about with the tenor guitar in last week's video, I wanted an instrument that was made and arched and braced in a way that knew it was going to be a mandocello, a 10-string mandocello at that, the whole time. Lloyd Loar actually made some mandocellos on guitar bodies. He called them the K5 mandocello. He didn't build any 10 strings, but he did build a 10-string mandolin mandola. Now, that's the same idea as a mandolin, just with a low C string, or a mandola with a high E string. So it's an octave above what this is in a more mandolin-sized package. So, what my thought was, like, if Lloyd Loar made himself a 10-string mandolin. It wasn't a production instrument, but there's lots of pictures with Loar holding a couple different 10-string mandolins that he made over the years. What, can I do the same thing with mandocello? Now, 10-string mandocellos, I did not invent this idea. They're out there. They're just a little uncommon. But as far as I know, this is the only 10-string sort of based on the L5 so it's like a 10-string K5 mandocello, you could call it. I'll give you a little sense of what it sounds like. So to me, this thing's got tons of sustain. It covers all the bases of a Mandocello, CGTA, an octave mandolin, GTAE, and with the use of a capo, you can really start unlocking a lot of other different options, which really makes this instrument kind of an all-in-one larger mandolin family instrument for me. And let me show you how that works. So I've talked about it before a little bit. I'm a big proponent of using capos. They're not super traditional in bluegrass, but I love using them to gain access to nice ringing open strings, which really, especially on these larger mandolin instruments with a lot of sustain, really kind of lets the instrument shine. So, the first thing you can do is if you put the capo on the 5th fret, what you end up with, and I gotta place this properly, is your GDAE strings are now CGDA, which is the same as a mandola. So now I've got a mandola. But not only is it a mandola, it's a mandola with a low F string, which is a little uncommon. Sound. Now, I was talking earlier about how with the 25-inch scale of the Mandocello, that GDAE 4 set of strings is it's anywhere from 2 to 5 inches longer than a lot of octave mandolins are. So, my solution there is we capo up at the 7th fret. Again, I have to check and make sure that's in the right spot. What you get is your C, G, D, A strings of the Mandocello on the 7th fret are now G, D, A, E in a much shorter scale. So right there, if I play this chord shape on the C, G, D, A strings, which is kind of like the classic G shape on a mandolin, I've got a nice, and I'll play a G scale. Now, compare that to the GDAE open strings. It's a much sparklier sound. So, I've got some tonal options too. This really kind of sparkly, a little bit jangly sound of the GDAE strings, or a much more mellow, shorter scale GDAE. And what I have here as well is that GDAE, I now have a high B string, which is a little uncommon. So that's about all I've got to say about this instrument. I'm over the moon with it. Again, as I said in the other video, this is not a sponsored video. I bought these instruments directly from Lawrence. I had a great time getting to know him and making a big road trip out to Idaho and picking him up. He's a great dude, but these are not sponsored. Lawrence, I don't even think he knows I'm making these videos necessarily. He's got no input on them. And I just want to sort of talk a little bit and do a little show and tell about some of my weird ideas about instruments. Now, obviously, these were not inexpensive instruments, and this is by no means a way to kind of show off. That's not my intention with these instruments. These are a decade in the making in my mind and saving up, and a 2-year process talking to Lawrence and kind of getting everything figured out. And it's more about kind of taking you through the thought process of, if you're in the position to be kind of talking to someone about custom instruments, things that you can, kind of discuss with the builder. I think Lawrence did a great job, and there's lots of great builders out there that'll do a similar job. Just wanted to take you along for a little bit of that ride. I hope that was helpful. Again, thanks so much for watching. There'll be lots more mandolin lessons coming soon. See you all soon. Bye-bye.